Shalom, shalom. First and foremost, I want to begin by giving all praise and glory unto Yahweh, by Hashem Yahushai, by Hashem Rakakadash. Double honors to the elders and to the apostle of Great Millstone. And in our respect to the brothers out there pushing and spreading the gospel of Yahweh Bashim Yahshai to the four corners of the world. Now, through the spirit and power of Yahweh Bashim Yahshai, I have this document here, which is titled Annual Threat Assessment of the United States Intelligence Community. Okay, and this is a document. This document is, as it says, an assessment, okay, made by the intelligence, the intelligence agency, and they brief, they brief the heads, okay, the kings and the rulers of Babylon, over there in the White House, and then when it's time to make it and when it's time to declassify it, they make it public. They make it, available to the public. So this is it. It's now available. We're going to look into it. And it's going to, for all those that are looking forward to the coming of Yahushai, I want y'all to know that it's not bullshitting us. All the things that are meant to happen, like the destruction of this kingdom, so that Yahushai may come down, and establish that righteous kingdom, all that it's happening now. Everything that the scriptures spoke of, foretold of, is happening now. When we go into it, you're going to come into, I think, the Ezekiel, the 37th chapter. Yeah. So, Ezekiel, the 37th chapter, it's all in it. Okay, so, but let's get into it, and, hopefully this is not too long. All right, again, this isn't one of those videos where it's I know how boring it is to always have to, read through PDFs and all these things, but it's important, okay, that this is the knowledge of the world around us. Okay, this is admission. This is Esau Edom himself, okay, confessing to the hard times that he's having with his kingdom. He's admitting that he's having a hard time, okay, ruling the world. Okay, so let's get into it. But before we do, we're going to go into Jeremiah of the 51st chapter. So this is Jeremiah chapter 51, starting from verse 42. It says, the sea is come up upon Babylon. And the sea is, when you read from the first verse, it talks about how Babylon will be overtaken, the destruction of Babylon and all the evil things that the Most High has determined upon this place. And so all these things, the terrible things that the Most High has imagined upon this place is what's referred to here as the sea. Okay, so the sea is come up upon Babylon. She is covered with the multitude of the waves thereof. So when you think about the downfall of Babylon, right, by way of this truth, okay, the downfall of Babylon, when the time comes that the beast, okay, NATO and the EU should betray her and hate her, let me see if I have to get the precepts right. 51. Salakia. Right, so the downfall of Babylon when it comes to the truth coming out, because the truth actually grieves them. The truth is very, very devastating to the common man that's walking about outside. The truth means nothing to them. But these higher ups out there that are trying to establish the new world order, that are trying to skillfully, lead the people without their knowledge, the truth always exposes them, and the truth always fucks up their plan. So, by the way of the truth, Babylon is also being destroyed. Babylon being destroyed by his old rival, which is or his rival, which is Gog and Magog, Russia. Hey, I'll give it to you, okay? All right, and so all these things is what's like the sea. This is what's gonna overtake Babylon. All right, so let me see. Ugh. And I was just there. Stop. Salakia, it's just my cat, but I am looking for the precept. Right. So the sea, okay, all the imaginable things that Yahweh Bashim Yashai has manifested to the intent that it may destroy Babylon. Like I gave all these examples: Babylon's rival, the truth, the betrayal of Babylon's allies, so on and so forth. Okay, these earthquakes, the chariots, the lasers that's gonna come from chariots. Okay, the insurrection talks about Jacob's trouble and how people shall not give heed unto their princes. Okay, to their kings and princes. Okay, so all these things coming upon you have the prophecy that talks about I'll turn the Egyptian against the Egyptians. So all these things, and the pestilences and the pollution and the climate change and all these things, it's gonna come up upon Babylon. Okay, my goodness. All right, forgive me for this, man. I'm really sorry about that. Come on. 59. Right. So that sea has come upon Babylon. It says her cities are desolate, a dry land, and a wilderness, a land wherein no man dwelleth, neither does any son of man pass thereby. Okay? There's a destruction of Babylon. And I will punish Bel in Babylon, and I'll bring forth out of his mouth that which he has swallowed up. And the nations shall not flow together any more unto him. Yea, the wall of Babylon shall fall. My people, go ye out the midst of her, and deliver ye every man his soul from the fierce anger of the Lord Yahweh Bashim Yashai. And the way we get out of we get out of the midst of Babylon is through this truth, through this ministry. Okay, we make peace with Yahweh Bashim Yashai, and in His mercy He delivers us. And it says, then see, that is the point. See. It says, then the heaven and the earth and all that is therein shall sing for Babylon. For the spoilers, okay, shall come up unto her from the north, says the Lord Yahweh. And this is talking about Gog and Magog. When you read in Ezekiel, the 37th chapter, he says the word, an evil thought shall come into the head. They shall come from the north. Okay? And, 38th chapter. Ezekiel, the 38th chapter. And, right? It says, therefore, son of man, prophesy and say unto Gog, right? Thou shalt come from thy place out of the north parts, thou and many people with thee. So they're coming for blood. They're coming for war. That is the spirit that the Most High has planted in them. And we're gonna read of that same fear, not fear, but a concern. Right now, it's merely a concern. That's why people don't believe in Yahweh Bashim Yashai, but they will believe when that fear actually cometh. Okay, so, and then also there's this article which I'm gonna get into it at camp, where Russia, okay, they intend to revoke their ratification. Ratification means to kind of enter into an agreement. Ratification is a principles legal confirmation of an act of its agent. In international law, ratification is the process by which a state declares its consent to be bound to a treaty. So they're saying to hell with this nuclear test ban treaty. And that's the same thing that we're reading off in Ezekiel, the 38th chapter. Okay? So, yeah, that's the point is brought up. So let's get into it. So, the annual threat assessments of the United States intelligence community. So it says, during the coming year, the United States and its allies will confront a complex and pivotal international security environment dominated by two critical strategic challenges that intersect with each other and existing trends to intensify their national security implications. First, great powers, rising regional powers, as well as an evolving array of non-state actors will vie for dominance in the global order. So they have people that are actually challenging them as their, um, for their position for global dominance, right? And for the longest time, Babylon has been complacent. They've been sitting there, you know, um, they've been made fat, with the resources of other nations, and now the tables are turning. They're coming down, and so these other nations are coming up, and they vie for dominance. So they're actually seeing that their status is not as high as it is. This is in 1942 or 1945, where you were the only one that has nuclear weapons. That time is past. This is in the back in the days where the so-called white man was reverenced, or an American was reverenced. Because back then, an American can go to anybody's country and break the laws. But as long as he says, I'm an American, everybody got to leave him alone. Because what happens when you touch a Babylonian, okay, when you touch a Babylonian in your land, you're going to have to face the wrath of the entire country. All right. But now that is not the case. You have these third world countries out there that are arresting. They straight away throw you in jail. They don't got to give you a trial. They put the citizens of Babylon the Great, in jail, and they fear no repercussions. All right. So this as well as compete to set the emerging conditions and rules that will shape that order for decades to come. Strategic competition between the United States and its allies, China and Russia, over what kind of world will emerge makes the few years critical to determine who and what will shape the narrative, perhaps most immediately in the context of Russia's actions in Ukraine, which threaten to escalate into a border conflict between Russia and the West. Second, shared global challenges, including climate change, right, and human and health security, right, pestilences, earthquakes in diverse places, are converging as the planet emerged from what? Another pestilence, okay? and confronts economic issues, right, spurred by both energy and food insecurity. Right, where I believe in the book of Revelation it talks about how like inflation. I forgot the chapter, but let me not paraphrase it wrong. But rapidly emerging or evolving technologies continue to have the potential to disrupt traditional business and society with both positive and negative outcomes, while creating unprecedented vulnerabilities and attack surfaces, making it increasingly challenging to predict the impact such challenges on our global landscape. Okay, so you have all these hackers out there that are causing havoc, in the business world. Hacking, doing all these things, holding they'll kind of lock up a company server and demand a ransom. Okay, and it's happening more often than you think, at which I believe that some of these are actually means by which the higher ups may use to introduce the CHIP. Okay, they tell you technology is it needs to be controlled, and under that premise they just kind of push it, and then now they're mandating everyone to have these things on their hand. But it says these two strategic challenges will intersect and interact in unpredictable ways, leading to a mutually reinforcing effect that could challenge our ability to respond, but that also will introduce new opportunities to forge collective actions with allies and partners, including non-state actors. The 2023 Annual Threat Assessment highlights some of those connections as it provides the IC's baseline assessment of the most pressing threats to the United States national interest. It is not an exhaustive assessment of all global challenges. So this is they just scratching the surface. They're not actually going into they're not actually going in depth about how grieved, okay, about how grievous their grasp about how grievous it is for them to keep their grasp on the world. It says this assessment addresses both threats from United States adversaries and functional and transnational concerns such as weapons of mass destruction and cyber, primarily in sections regarding threat actors as well as an array of regional issues with larger global implications. Russia's unprovoked full-scale invasion of Ukraine has highlighted that the era of nation-state competition and conflict has not been relegated to the past, but instead has emerged as a defining characteristics of the current era. These men just prophesied, and they don't even know it, okay? Because what does it say? Ezekiel, the 38th chapter. It says, Son of man, set thy face against Gog, the land of Magog, the chief prince of Meshech and Tubal, which is talking about Russia, that land of Russia. And it says, and say, thus says the Lord God, behold, I am against thee, and I will turn thee back and put hooks in thy jaws, and I will bring thee forth, and all thine army, horses and horsemen, and all of them clothed with all sorts of armor, even great company with bucklers and shields. He will turn them back. These men, they're not, see, as the world evolves, people become less aggressive. But the Most High said, nah, to the hell with that. I'm gonna unleash the beast, okay? I'm gonna unleash the beast in these men, and I'm gonna watch you guys destroy yourself, and I'm gonna send my son in to come destroy you, okay? So this goes into them turning them back to the mindset that they were in, which was a conquering mindset. And it goes on to say, it says, after many days, verse 8, thou shalt be visited. In the latter days thou shalt come into a land that is brought back from the sword, which is talking about the land of Israel, right? And it says, thou shalt ascend like a storm, like a cloud to cover the land. That's wrong. I'll be right with you. It's just, oh my goodness, my cat. It's just, it says, and thou shalt what? And it shall come to pass that at the same time shall things come into thy mind, and thou shalt think an evil thought. And thou shalt say, I will go up to the land of unwalled villages. I will go to them that are at rest, that dwell safely, all of them dwelling without walls, and having neither bars nor gate. This is talking about, like I said, the land of the Amalek, the land of Israel, in which the Amaleks are dwelling in right now. And it also talks about Babylon, because the scripture talks about how Babylon dwells carelessly. Okay, but even though Ukraine is not that land, what they are doing out there is a testament to what is sort of like a foreshadowing of what will happen in the future. You know, if the scriptures term someone as a murderer, if the scriptures prophesy that someone is going to be a murderer and is going to murder somebody, and then as time goes on, you see murderous intentions of that person, then from that you know that, okay, yeah, he's definitely going to do what the scripture says he's going to do. And this is exactly what we're seeing here. So it says, while Russia, so it's very interesting. It says Russia's unprovoked full-scale invasion of Ukraine has highlighted that the era of non-state competition and conflict has not been relegated to the past, but instead has emerged as a defining characteristics of the current era. While Russia is challenging the United States and some norms in the national order, in its war of territorial aggression, China has the capability to directly attempt to alter the rules-based global order in every realm and cross multiple regions and across multiple regions as a near-peer competitor that is increasingly pushing to change global norms and potentially threatening its neighbors. So they also have the same mindset that Russia does, and they are very powerful as Babylon, terms them a near-peer competitor. They're not as powerful as Esau Edom, but they up there. It says Russia's military actions against Ukraine demonstrated that it remains revanchist. Let me see. Oops. All right. Copy that word. So Russia remains a revanchist. Maybe if I'm saying that right.
Revanchism. Revanchism.
Right, revanchism. So it says a policy of seeking to retaliate, especially to recover lost territory. Hey, these men are out there, man. When the Most High grips the heart of a man, nobody can deter him. All right. So it says they remain a revanchist power, intent on using whatever tools are necessary to try to reestablish a perceived sphere of influence despite what its neighbors desire for themselves. And the audacity of Babylon, man. See, here it is. They will mess up, okay? They use what's called a soft power, which is influence, and also like espionage missions. They go in and they will topple government, but they'll do it on the low. They'll fund this group and they'll use proxy armies. And then they'll destroy the structure of a nation. But here it is. They have the audacity to call someone out for doing the same thing, for involving themselves and toppling down a power structure that already exists to the intent that it may benefit them. It says, and is willing to push back on Washington both locally and globally. Besides these strategic competitors, local and regional powers are seeking to exert their influence, often at the cost of neighbors and the world order itself. And Babylon, is part of it. I can't stand it whenever they speak of wickedness and then they kind of separate themselves from the matter. It says Iran will remain a regional menace with broader malign influence activities, and North Korea will expand its weapons of mass destruction capabilities while being a disruptive player on the regional and world stages. It's a lot of it. It's 40 pages long. Okay, I for one I'm gonna read it, and then it goes into it like in details. What I just read is just like the preface. Okay, that's just the intro, and then it goes into specifics. So I am gonna post there the link in the description where you could get into it and read it for yourself. For those who want to be knowledgeable. You may know prophecy, but you will understand it better if you are constantly standing upon your tower, pursuant to Habakkuk the 2nd chapter, and watching, okay, and be doing your job as a watchman, and always keeping your eye out on the events of the world. Yahweh Shai is on his way. Yahweh Shem Shai, we are not being lied to. We're not being deceived. The world is playing out exactly how it is written in the scriptures. Which is why a lot of these guys out there, like a while back, who fall out the truth, and they keep bringing out the fact that the 2000 prophecy about how Babylon was supposed to be destroyed in the year 2000, didn't come to pass. Well, you keep bringing that up, and then you ignore all these things that are actually coming to pass in front of your eyes, which shows you that the Most High set this up purposely so that he can get rid of all those who didn't believe him in the first place. And it's not even like this is the year 3000. It's still the year 2000. It's only 23 years after the... hey, man, it is what it is. But yeah, Yahweh Shai is on his way. So, I'm going to end it right there. Shalom, Akim. And to all you few outgoers also listening in truth and sincerity, Shalom, Yahweh Hashem Shai Brakatham. May the blessing of election be upon our houses. And, it's a beautiful thing for us to witness this. And Tawadi Yahweh Hashem Shai for always for always satisfying us with news like this, and give us the strength and the faith to keep up this ministry, to keep up our word, so that we may meet you, and give us the strength to be righteous, and give us the strength to overcome, the flesh and the world, because it's very difficult to be in the spirit while we are in this world, and we need that strength so that we may be found acceptable in your eyes, so that we may receive salvation. So, through our caller Yahweh Bashim Yashai, La will Barakat Yahweh, Barakat Yahweh Shai, Barakat Yahweh Bashim Yashai, La will Aman. Shalom.